Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811. PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Avacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's A-B-A-C-O. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, this island comes, I know, only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Now hear this. Man your battle stations.
The Obama attack on our Constitution continues. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com and join J.D. Bonnier and Christina Lamb and hundreds of Reagan conservative commandos who demand our country return to its founding documents and principles. We are part of the nation's oldest and largest GOP volunteer organization, the National Federation of Republican Assemblies. We register voters, endorse conservative candidates, and dig deep to give you the truth on the big issues. We are fighting to do what Lincoln proclaimed 150 years ago. Let the people know the facts and the nation will be free. Help support the Conservative Commando Radio Show with your donation today. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com. INRASuperPAC.com.
Now hear this. Man your battle stations.
From the East Coast to the West Coast and around the world on the Internet. We're coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360 and WIFI 1460. This is the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with your host, Rick Trader. The Conservative Commandos Radio Show, where the newsmakers go to be heard. You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody, and welcome, fellow patriots, and welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you live from the CCRS studios, that of WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, the way we do Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and around the world on the internet with our new internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, and VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And joining me today, as she usually does on Fridays, but wait, this isn't Friday, it's actually Thursday, but she's here with me anyway. Joining me today is my very good friend, Anna Little. Anna, welcome to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show.
I'm glad to be with you, Rick.
Great to have you with me. And also great to have you with me today, being Thursday, tomorrow being the 4th of July. I know you're going to be busy doing things. Anna, what's on your schedule for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow I'm going down to the Independence Hall Tea Party Association. They're going to be having a 4th of July event, which is actually available on Facebook, so you should look it up, listeners. We'll be down there at 1 o'clock, and there are a number of speakers, and yours truly gets to sing both the national anthem and God Bless America. So I'm pretty excited about heading out to Independence Hall Tea Party tomorrow.
All right. So, Anna, before we get into things as we usually do, why don't we run down our list of guests for today? Who are you going to be speaking with, Anna?
I don't have that up in front of me at the moment.
All right, well then we'll do that after our first break then, right?
Okay, all right.
All right, we'll go this direction then. What's on your radar screen, my friend?
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. I am very excited about what's been going on at the Supreme Court, and I know that we've talked about with other co-hosts on the show, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the Hobby Lobby decision because I think it is very, very important. We all call it the Hobby Lobby decision, but it doesn't apply to just one business or one organization. It's a pretty broad-based decision, which basically protects religious freedom. It protects our right to fail to pay for contraception or abortifacient if it's against our religion to do so. And it protects all Catholic organizations. It protects all of those who were plaintiffs in this case. Against the government, and it seems to me like the U.S. Constitution actually won the day in the Supreme Court on a number of rulings, and I think we as conservatives should be very, very excited about this and encouraged by this because, you know, we've been fighting the hard fight, and, you know, when you're in the trenches, sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees, and people get discouraged. Well, these rulings from the Supreme Court of the United States upholding the Constitution, especially the First Amendment, ought to give a lot of wind to our wings, a lot of fire to the belly. We should keep the fight up because, frankly, this is what our nation was founded on, and apparently, whether you approve of the advocacy of certain political agendas or not by certain justices on this court, we still have a majority on the United States Supreme Court who will uphold the Constitution. And it's very important that we continue our work going forward so that we can increase that majority to respect the Constitution, not to advocate for a particular political agenda, which is the purpose of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Well, Anna, they were big wins. They were big wins for freedom of religion. They were big wins for freedom of speech. There were also some big losses by Barack Obama. Supreme Court said that he had overreached his power with his recess appointments, so it was not a very good week for Barack Obama. Following that, Anna, I heard of the Quinnipiac poll that came out yesterday that 33% of the population says that Barack Obama is the worst president since World War II. So definitely not a good week for Barack Obama.
Well, I think that's true, and I think basically the rule of law is what is winning the day, and I think that's appropriate. I mean, that's definitely the way our nation was designed to operate. I know we've had some moments that have given us pause during this administration, but it does seem that the Supreme Court, at least the majority, because the Hobby Lobby was not unanimous, it was a 5-4 decision, but they did come back and say it was broadly applicable. It wasn't just specifically to these plaintiffs, not specifically those items mentioned. It was a broad decision. So that's been underscored. So I think we can go forward now knowing that, at the very least, our First Amendment rights are protected. Whether you like the health care law or not, whether you believe, and I think most of our listeners believe that it was improperly put in place, we are in a position now where those of us who object to certain provisions of it can actually have our First Amendment rights protected, and if necessary, refer to these rulings and perhaps go to the Supreme Court ourselves if we need to have those rights protected. So this is a huge relief to me. I mean, I'm not going to tell you everything's rosy and perfect and that we're in the Garden of Eden here, but by the same token, I do think that we are protected under this particular court, which frankly I doubted up until the Hobby Lobby decision. I wasn't sure we had a majority of justices on that court who would come away from a political agenda to protect the Constitution, and apparently we do, at least 5-4.
Well, Anna, it just goes to show a 5-4 decision, and it amazes me, Anna, how 9 supposedly very educated and learned people can look at the same issue, compare it to the Constitution, and come up with opposite rulings, okay? 4 people felt one way, 5 people felt another way. And I'm talking, these people that I'm talking about are the Supreme Court justices.
Well, I agree with you, and I do believe the 5 that ruled in our favor erred on the side of protecting the Constitution as it exists, especially the First Amendment as it is written. I think the 4 that did not are activist judges, and they feel that it is appropriate for us to come away from that Constitution and create new law by way of the Supreme Court. I personally do not feel that that's the proper use of the Supreme Court. If we're going to make new laws, it needs to be done by the legislative branch down in Congress. And apparently 5 out of 9 justices agree with me on that. And they did err on the side of the Constitution, no matter what their personal or political beliefs might be. Thank God for that. But I think conservatives, while we have some wind beneath our wings, and while we are obviously rejuvenated and re-energized by this decision, we have to get busy, because we have to make sure that we elect officials in government who will appoint judges who will respect the Constitution going forward. You don't appoint a judge based on their political agenda. You don't appoint a judge based on their past advocacy for laws. You appoint a judge based on their respect for the United States Constitution, especially when you're talking about the Supreme Court of the United States. And we need to elect officials who will do just that.
I agree. And Anna, there were, as I mentioned, or as we've mentioned, there were several rulings that came down from the Supreme Court last week. And one of them, the U.S. Supreme Court vindicates pro-life sidewalk counseling. And America's foremost grassroots pro-life activist organization is applauding last week's U.S. Supreme Court ruling in McCauley versus Conkley. The nation's highest court struck down the restrictive Massachusetts abortion clinic buffer zone, allowing pro-life sidewalk counselors to resume sharing life-saving alternatives with abortion-bound women. And this, Anna Little, is a free, totally, in my opinion, a free speech issue, a freedom of assembly issue, and I feel a very good ruling that came down from the Supreme Court.
As I said, I believe that First Amendment is being protected by this particular Supreme Court. And we just need to make sure going forward that we have, again, elected officials who will appoint judges that will respect the Constitution going forward. And, you know, as we see the first rulings that came down, some of them, if not all of them, were 9-0. The Hobby Lobby decision, when we got to the religious exemption for the health care bill. Now, there's where the political agenda is strongest, right?
I do believe so.
This is a socialized medicine political agenda that's being brought forward by the progressive left through the Democratic Party. They've got their president in the White House. They managed to squeak this law through under their political agenda of using process in order to get it done. It gets up to what they believe is their Supreme Court, and thank God, by 5-4, that decision goes through. So conservatives, what am I saying to you? What I'm saying to you is it's a close call because it was 5-4. We've got to get to work. We need justices on the Supreme Court, and the way to do that is through the elected officials. We need those justices to respect the Constitution first. So you've got to quiz your elected officials from the local level all the way on up. Do you respect the United States Constitution? Because remember, the guy that gets on council ends up in the county office, ends up in the state office, ends up in the federal office, and then could end up in the White House as a justice on the Supreme Court. So you've got to make sure that you've got officials that agree with us on this so that our rights are protected. Forget what their political agendas are. Will they come away from those to fall upon the integrity of the Constitution, which is our founding document, and the supreme law of the land? That's what we've got to do. That's what we're charged with.
Also, in the 30 seconds that we have left before we go to break, Anna, another big ruling. The Supreme Court ruled in Harris versus Quinn that partial public employees like daycare and home health providers cannot be required to contribute to union bargaining fees. Another win, I think, Anna, for all of us in America. And it's like arguing. It's like arguing that 7-Eleven workers are government employees because 7-Eleven accepts food stamps, right? Same thing here. This was a group of people who were taking care of people in their own homes. In many cases, it was family members, but because they were being subsidized by the government, unions felt as though they should be made to join unions. So that was another victory for all of us, Anna. Hey, Anna, we are going to take a break right now. You are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you live from the CCRS studios. WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, the way we do Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and around the world on the internet via our internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us, and don't forget you can now hear our show anytime, day or night, from any phone by calling 832-999-1199. Don't go away. Anna and I will be right back.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Biden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna and Rick, coming to you from the CCRS studios, that of WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of yesterday's show at 5 p.m. when we end our live broadcast, log on to CPRWorldwideMedia.com. Click on that Listen Live link. You can also hear a rebroadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon at VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And now, Anna, I think it's safe to ask you if you would like to discuss our guest for today.
I think it's very safe to ask me. Okay. You know, at 3:35, we have the honor, Rick, of speaking with David Hochberg. He's a healthcare policy analyst for the National Center for Public Policy Research, and he had previously been Washington correspondent for Investors Business Daily, specializing in the coverage of healthcare and Medicare. And, you know, he also worked as a policy analyst in other think tanks, which we'll talk about when we introduce him. But the important subject he's going to talk to us about is the VA scandal. He's got a new policy paper coming out. It's a national policy analysis paper, and the title of it is called Veterans Will Suffer Another Scandal as Long as Bureaucracy Runs Their Health Care. So that's going to be released soon, and he's going to talk to us about that. It's a very important subject.
All right.
And at 4:35, I'm going to be speaking with Sidney Powell. He's worked in the Department of Justice for 10 years and was lead counsel in more than 500 federal appeals. She served 9 U.S. attorneys from both political parties and is the author of License to Lie, Exposing Corruption in the Department of Justice. We're excited about her article in the New York Observer. Meet Emmett Sullivan, IRS judge who once a special prosecutor on DOJ, and it's Lerner, Holder, Obama. Are You Packing Your Bags? By Sidney Powell. So that's a really exciting title. I think it's another important subject. We have got to get honesty in government. We've got to get transparency back into government. And it seems to me like we're under this administration, there's more clandestine stuff going on, and it seems like these missing emails, there's just no explanation. So let's see what Sidney Powell has to say about all of that.
All right. You know, Anna, here we are on the eve of the 4th of July. And in my mind, I think, or I try to imagine what it was like July the 4th, 1776. Got winter on my mind already, Anna. July the 4th, 1776. I can just in my mind imagine our founding fathers, the signers of the Declaration of Independence, sitting in Independence Hall. And we know from history that they started every meeting, every occasion where they convene with a prayer. And that's something that has really gotten away in our country, from our people in our country. The secular world seems to think that we can't do this, but we just need to remind our listeners what our founding fathers did. And that was not just celebrate our country, but celebrate God. Joining us today will be Dr. Rodney Howard Brown. He's the president and founder of the Revival Ministries International, a senior pastor of the River at Tampa Bay, and the president of River Bible Institute, River Bible School of Worship, and the School of Government in Tampa, Florida. Rodney and his wife have been called by God to reach out to the nations whilst keeping America in their primary mission field. Anna, Kevin Wade and myself had an opportunity this past Monday night to meet with Dr. Rodney Howard Brown and hear about an event that's taking place in Washington, D.C. as we speak and up until July 19th called Celebrate America. And we're going to have Dr. Rodney Howard Brown join us today to talk about that and the mission of Celebrate America. So that'll be our guest today at 4 o'clock. So, Anna, what else is going on your radar screen, my friend?
Well, I always like to revisit this issue about Miriam Ibrahim, who was actually sentenced to death in Sudan for failing to abandon her Christian faith, for holding on to her belief in Jesus and in God. You remember she was 8 months pregnant when she was arrested. Well, there's some new information. She's given her first interview since the incident. I believe she gave the interview to CNN. Of course, I'm getting the news through LifeSite News or lifenews.com. But she's indicated that there's a problem with the baby, so we need some prayers for her and for her child. We also need to look at this situation as a means of underscoring the need for us to make these public outcries in defense of First Amendment rights for people throughout the world and against the abuse of human rights, which I believe religious belief is part of. So the problem here is that Miriam gave birth in chains and was unable to...
In chains?
No.
You said in chains. She gave birth in chains while she was
chains, yes,
still
not
chained. Oh, my God.
I'm quoting from her. There's an article on lifenews.com. It's written by Stephen Erfelt in Washington, D.C. I might not have said that right. Maybe it's Erfelt in Washington, D.C. It was published today, or yesterday, 7/2. And the quotes in the article are by Ibrahim, yes, Miriam Ibrahim. I gave birth chains. Ibrahim recalled the traumatizing birth, adding, not cuffs, but chains on my legs. I couldn't open my legs. The women had to lift me off the table. I wasn't lying on the table. And something has happened to the baby, Miriam added, explaining that her daughter had been physically disabled by the birth. I don't know in the future whether she'll need support to walk or not. She had her legs been in cuffs with a chain between them, she would have been able to open her legs. But because they were chained together in the way that they were, she couldn't. And I can't imagine what position she had to be in physically in order to give birth. This kind of thing can never, ever, ever be permitted to happen again, especially not in 2014. This is a human being, a woman, giving birth to another human being, a child. These are not animals. There's absolutely no excuse for this mistreatment. Putting her in jail was bad enough. But this mistreatment, and if this child is disfigured for life because of this, this government should be sanctioned by the United Nations and by every civilized country in the world for this behavior, and it should never be permitted to happen again. So I hope that the public outcry on behalf of this family does not stop with her release from jail, which incidentally isn't over yet. She's had her paperwork, her travel documents in 100% perfect condition, and they are claiming that she has somehow fraudulently provided documents. This is not going on. This is another attempt by this government to keep her from leaving Sudan. And while there has been a public statement by the government of Sudan indicating that she's free to leave, but she has to do so through the proper legal channels, her statement and those who are advocating for her have made statements indicating that everything is in order and it's this government blocking the way. So we cannot let the pressure up at this point. This subject is not over. We have got to stand up for this family as they go forward. And incidentally, the husband is a United States citizen, so is the son, and I believe the child should be. So, and certainly Miriam is eligible not only for permanent residency, but for citizenship within 3 years, and should have been eligible immediately for asylum, given her circumstances. So there's absolutely no impediment to anyone here in the United States standing up for this family.
What a crying shame, Anna, with everything that she, her husband, and her children have gone through now to find out that this baby was born injured. Hey, Anna, we got to take a break right now. You're listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you live from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and via our internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us, and don't forget you can hear our show anytime, day or night by calling 832-999-1199. Check out our websites, conservativecommandosradioshow.com and ccrshow.com. Today's show, like all our shows, is brought to you by the First Amendment, and it is protected by the Second. Ann and I will be right back.
They say I'm nasty, but What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, the smiling coast I know, only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
The Obama attack on our Constitution continues. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com and join J.D. Manier and Christina Lamb and hundreds of Reagan conservative commandos who demand our country return to its founding documents and principles. We are part of the nation's oldest and largest GOP volunteer organization, the National Federation of Republican Assemblies. We register voters, endorse conservative candidates, and dig deep to give you the truth on the big issues. We are fighting to do what Lincoln proclaimed 150 years ago. Let the people know the facts and the nation will be free. Help support the Conservative Commando Radio Show with your donation today. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com. INRASuperPAC.com.
Now hear this. Man your battle stations.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna Little and Rick Trader. And a program note, If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of yesterday's show at 5 p.m. this evening Eastern Time when we end our live broadcast, please log on to cprworldwidemedia.com. You could also hear a rebroadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon at vigilantlibertyradio.us. And Anna, we do have our first guest of the day with us. Will you please make the introduction?
I would be honored to do so, Rick. Listeners, we have the honor of speaking this afternoon with David Hochberg. He's a healthcare policy analyst for the National Center for Public Policy Research, and he's previously been the Washington correspondent for Investors Business Daily, specializing in his coverage of healthcare and Medicare. Prior to IBD, he worked as a policy analyst studying healthcare and other issues for various think tanks, including the National Center for Public Policy Research and for the Office of Representative Jeff Fortenberry. Dr. Hochberg is currently working on a book entitled Medicare's Victims, How the U.S. Government's Largest Healthcare System Harms Patients and Impairs Physicians. And today he's going to be speaking to us about the VA scandal. He's got a new policy analysis paper coming out. Veterans will suffer another scandal as long as bureaucracy runs their health care. So excited to speak with Dr. Hochberg today about these important issues. Dr. Hochberg, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, thank you very much, and feel free to call me David.
Oh, David, thank you so much. Well, David, I want to thank you, first of all, for your very hard work on these very important subjects. There is nothing more important than our government, or we as a people, ought to do than to provide health care for those who would put themselves in harm's way on our behalf and protect our freedom. There is no United States of America without the military. These veterans deserve our undying support right up into their last breath. And so this VA scandal is paramount. So I want to thank you so very much for shedding the light on this scandal and for writing your policy analysis paper, which will hopefully help us avoid these problems in the future. Thank you so very much.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm eager to talk about it.
Well, I'd like you to talk about it. So with that, why don't you go ahead and introduce why is it that you felt it was so important to write this policy analysis paper?
Basically, there are a number of different explanations for why the wait time scandal happened at the Department of Veterans Affairs. And there is one journalist by the name of Philip Longman who a number of years ago wrote a book, it was actually back in 2007, entitled The Best Care Anywhere, Why VA Healthcare is Better Than Yours. And as you can guess from the title, Longman has been scrambling a little bit in the wake of the VA scandal, where employees at the VA manipulated data on wait times and left thousands of veterans lingering on wait lists. And as we know so far, at least 23 veterans died while waiting for care. And what Longman basically claims is that the wait time problem largely occurred in VA facilities in the Sun Belt region. And that's, for those who don't know, that's basically the region in our nation that kind of starts in Nevada and Southern California and then runs across the southern strip of states to Florida, and then just briefly goes up into South Carolina and North Carolina. And his argument was that a lot of veterans migrated in recent years to the Sun Belt areas, especially veterans that retired. Retirees often like to go to areas where there's much, more sun, better weather, and so forth. And that the VA facilities in those areas were hence overwhelmed, and that is what led to the wait times there. But I dug into it a bit along with my industrious intern Scott, and we found that the evidence doesn't really support that argument. For starters, I looked at the recent audit that the VA did of the scandal, and there were 81 problem facilities that they noted in that audit, and 41 of those were in the Sun Belt, and 40 were not. And then we tracked down data on wait times and facilities in Government Accountability Office reports and the VA's Office of Inspector General reports, and we looked at specific facilities that were examined in these reports. on wait times, and 21 of those were in the Sun Belt, and 22 were not. So, basically, the evidence doesn't really support what Longman is arguing, and really I think the best conclusion to come to is that this is a scandal that's really not restricted to a particular geographic area. It's clearly nationwide, and it has something to do not with geography, but with the bureaucracy that runs the Veterans Health Administration.
Well, we've always been advocates for anything that can be done in the private sector ought to be done there, and things that government tries to do that are best done by the private sector usually goes south. Is this a situation? I mean, obviously it's the military, there should be some government involvement, but is this a situation where perhaps some public-private partnership, where perhaps the private sector provides the medical care and the government makes sure that it's paid for? Would that kind of a situation improve the circumstances of these vets?
Oh, I think, I think veterans would just be better off if the VA more or less paid for their health care, and veterans were able to get choose their health care provider, go wherever they wanted, and there's choice, there would be choice and competition, and that always, improves the quality. But this is basically a problem, of letting our veterans letting their health care be taken care of basically by a bureaucracy. And to really understand it, you have to look at the incentives and constraints that bureaucracies like the VA face. And I'll give a few here, time permitting.
You're okay. We've got a couple minutes left. Go ahead.
Okay. First is that with most bureaucracies, the VA's customers, in this case the veterans that were patients, don't control the funding. In a normal market, of course, customers do control the funding. So if hypothetically business A makes its customers wait too long for a service, then those customers are going to take their money elsewhere, to businesses that don't make them wait, and business A will take a hit in revenues, and it will have to shape up or go under. But with the VA, there really is no such, what we seem to call that now a feedback loop. There is no feedback loop for the VA. There's no financial consequences for bad customer service. And because of that, you end up with oftentimes veterans receiving very, very poor quality health care.
Yeah, it seems to me like when the funding follows the consumer in any particular business, medical providers being in an industry, so it certainly applies, that there are consequences because the patient can take that money with them elsewhere. When the money is linked to the facility and the patient is forced to go to that facility, where's the consequence?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's exactly it. The funding for the VA comes from Congress and to a lesser extent the President, and it's there year in and year out. So the VA is in no danger of going out of business, and since that's where the money comes from, any bureaucracy, good bureaucracy, really is good in the sense that it's catering to the folks that provide the funding. It's going to cater to the concerns of Congress and the President, and if they're not that concerned about wait times, and I think in part thanks to Philip Longman's book, they weren't. Then the people who run the VA are not going to be that concerned about wait times either. So, the problem is basically the funding does not, like you said, does not follow the patient.
Well, Dr. Hoberg, we're going to have to go to break right now. Can you hold on for about 2 minutes while we do this break?
Certainly. Thanks.
Listeners, we are speaking with Dr. David Hoberg about the very important VA scandal and the possibility that it might happen in the future. Wait through the break, listeners, because you're going to get your instructions at the end of this segment as to what we need you to do. You're listening to Conservative Commandos Radio Show. We're broadcasting live today from our flagship station, WNJC 1350 in Philadelphia and around the world on the Internet. And we want you to check out the website while you're on the break. That's CCRshow.com and ConservativeCommandosRadioShow.com. And we'll be speaking with Dr. Hoberg once again after the break.
They say I'm crazy. I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm nasty, but I...
Oh, how I'm longing for
is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's A-B-A-C-O. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna and Rick. And a program note, if you'd like to hear a repeat broadcast of today's show, check out or log on to vigilantlibertyradio.us tomorrow afternoon. And our guest this segment is Dr. David Hochberg. He's a healthcare policy analyst for the National Center for Public Policy Research. David, thanks for holding through that break. It's great to speak with you again.
Not a problem.
David, as you said, the problem is not just in the Sun Belt, and that all VA centers are different. And I'll say this, that I have a couple of friends that depend upon the VA for their health care. David, they know which centers to go to and which centers not to go to.
Well, look, there is going to be a mix. I mean, I've heard of centers that are very good, and of course ones that are, borderline disasters. And look, I think it would make a lot of sense to let the money follow the veteran, and if he wants to continue his care at a VA facility, fine. He should be, that is his right to do so. And, if he's happy with the care he's getting from a VA facility that he considers good, more power to him, more power to that facility. But, let's have competition, let's have choice, and, the VA facilities that do well, they should stay in business, and then, the ones that don't should close down. And that can be brought about by veterans, controlling the money directly.
David, I think we're starting to see this movement. Congress wants to pass, or has actually passed, a law allowing veterans to seek a care facility outside the VA system if there isn't a VA center within 40 miles of where they live. So I think that's a move in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so too. And as far as I know, there's also something in there about wait times, and if you can't get an appointment within a certain amount of time, you'd be able to seek care elsewhere. And that's a good start, I think. But I really want to expand it even more for veterans who are, say, even within 10 miles of a VA facility. They should still have the choice of where to go. Even veterans who can get a timely appointment, if they want to go elsewhere for whatever reason, they think the quality is better or whatever, they should be allowed to. So while this, while that law, that bill takes steps in the right direction, I don't think it goes far enough.
Well, received a report from the National Center for Public Policy Research, which you have been quoted in. I just want to make sure our listeners hear this, that the root of the problem lies in the incentives faced by the bureaucrats at the VA. And David, you say the VA faces no financial consequences for poor treatment of veterans. You also say in here, and quoting you, I'm sure many of the employees at the VA are honest, but like any institution, there is always folks who will cheat. When it is almost impossible to fire such people, the result will be greater dishonesty regardless of whether veterans suffer.
Well, absolutely. I mean, one of the other problems with bureaucracies is that, and the VA is really no exception to this, is most of their employees have civil service protection, which basically means it's very, very difficult to fire them. And, when you can't fire an employee for dishonesty, when you can't fire them for, say, manipulating the data on wait times, then, there really is no constraint on cheating. And so if, having good data on wait times is what means raises and promotions in the bureaucracy, and there is, little downside to manipulating that data when it doesn't look good, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what's going to happen. And let me just clarify one thing. I want to make clear that I'm not saying that most government employees or most VA employees are dishonest. In fact, I'm sure most of them are honest. But most people are neither saints nor criminals. And if you have an incentive structure that, like the VA does, like most bureaucracies do, that doesn't punish dishonesty and arguably rewards it, well, you're at much greater risk of slightly more people being dishonest.
David, when you talk about rewarding dishonesty, do you know of any cases where people in the VA system have received bonuses, much like we found out that people at IRS receive bonuses?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's I mean, that's been in the news recently that a lot of VA people did receive substantial bonuses, even while this, the problems with wait times were going on, and presumably they received them at least in part because the data had been manipulated, and it looked like their data on wait times looked very good, and so I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head they have received in bonuses over the last few years, but it's substantial.
Well, Dr. Hoberg, I think that your insights are very, very helpful on this. I mean, most of us don't have time to delve into all of this detail. So again, I want to thank you for bringing all of this information to light. But, I think what we need to do is perhaps give some instructions to the vets themselves, or perhaps the public who has concern and care for these vets. How is it that we, the people, can communicate with our government to try to direct the proper policy to take place there? And what exactly should we be asking our government officials to do?
You should be asking them to reform the VA. Pick up your telephone, get on the internet and send an email. Look for groups that are actually trying to reform the VA and support them. This is something that needs to change. It's not easy to change, but it can be. And the political win, for those who want to change this, you might say they've got a little political win behind them, in the sense that veterans are a very honored group of people, and politicians are going to be a little more reluctant to do things that veterans dislike. So it can be changed, but like anything in Washington, it's not easy to change it.
I guess it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort on the part of we the people, through our representatives, to get this job done. But if not for people like yourself, and what was the name of your? Was it an intern that you mentioned?
Oh, yeah, my intern, Scott, yes.
Scott, yes, okay, I was trying to remember. Well, if it wasn't for your work and Scott's work, none of us would have the ammunition we need to go forward and ask for these policy changes. So I want to thank you again for this. Now, the paper, the policy analysis paper, is going to be coming out soon, right? Or did it already come out? Tell us about the paper.
The paper is already out. You can just go to nationalcenter.org, and it's one of the top the papers at the top. It's also at the website the Federalist, and I'm not sure it's on their front page anymore. But the title of it again is "Veterans Face Further Scandals of Bureaucrats Run Their Health Care," and basically, since this is a problem with the incentives faced by the bureaucracy. And that's not really going to change unless, of course, we let the money follow the veterans. Then, down the road, the VA, you will see another scandal like this at the VA.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Dr. David Hochberg, for spending this time with us today at Conservative Commandos Radio Show. As I've said many times during this interview, I very much appreciate your work. So do our listeners. And so we just want to thank you for spending the time. We hope you'll come back soon.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure.
And happy 4th of July to you.
Same to you.
Okay. Listeners, we've been speaking with Dr. David Hochberg. He's a healthcare policy analyst for the National Center for Public Policy Research. He's had extensive experience as a Washington correspondent for Investors Business Daily and other think tanks on policy. His focus has been on healthcare, and he's been talking to us today about the veterans' healthcare scandal. And as a matter of policy, what should we do going forward to avoid these scandals in the future? First of all, it's a broader scandal than many would like to admit.
Anna, I think that there could be... Hate me for trying to be optimistic, Anna, but I think that there could be a silver lining in this cloud, that maybe people will start to recognize that government cannot take care of health care. We're talking about a group of veterans. Certainly the population of veterans is much smaller than that of the rest of the people. Government can't give proper health care to veterans. How in the world are they going to take care of the rest of us?
I agree. And, I think, Rick, what we've got to do is realize that the power in this country really does lie with the people. So if we rise up and we speak for our elected officials who then put forward legislation or regulations to reform what's going on in the VA, I like the idea of veterans being able to seek health care in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I do too, Anna, and the same should be for the rest of us. Let us seek health care where we deem the best place to be. Let us buy health care from whoever we think can best fill our needs. We don't need government telling us what to buy, who to buy it from, where to buy it, where we can go to the hospital, what doctors we can use. That's what the VA, that's what the government is telling veterans. And it's not working. And this, Anna, is just a small example, a very small example, what's going on in the VA as to what's going to go on with the rest of Obamacare. This thing cannot and will not and is not working. It will never work, Anna Little. We're certainly not going to get the kind of health care that we've gotten in the past.
That's right. And so I think that the vets are the place to prove that first, and we have to make sure that we stand up and assure for these vets that they get what they need as far as health care. And certainly without the wait time, 23 veterans lost because of wait time is way too much. First of all, one would be too much, in my opinion. So, I think we definitely need to do some work on this, folks. And it certainly is up to us because the way our government's organized, we are the ones in charge.
Absolutely. And Anna, as you said before, elections do have their consequences, just like when it comes to appointing judges, appointing Supreme Court judges. Elected officials make these appointments and make these appointments. Some judges are elected, some judges are in elected positions, but my gosh, even with that, elections do have their consequences. Hey, Anna, we are going to take a break right now, and you are listening to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you live from the CCRS studios, that of WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia. The way we do Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and around the world on the internet with our internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us, and you can hear our show anytime, day or night, from any phone by calling 832-999-1199. Check out our websites, ConservativeCommandosRadioshow.com and CCRShow.com. Ann and I will be right back with our next guest.
What does it take to be the leader in production systems technology? To be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology? It takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glasper, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittlesportshop.com.
The Obama attack on our Constitution continues. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com and join J.D. Manier and Christina Lamb and hundreds of Reagan conservative commandos who demand our country return to its founding documents and principles. We are part of the nation's oldest and largest GOP volunteer organization, the National Federation of Republican Assemblies. We register voters, endorse conservative candidates, and dig deep to give you the truth on the big issues. We are fighting to do what Lincoln proclaimed 150 years ago. Let the people know the facts and the nation will be free. Help support the Conservative Commando Radio Show with your donation today. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com. INRASuperPAC.com.
Now hear this. Man your battle stations.
You can call the Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you from the CCRS studios, that of WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia and around the world on the internet. And our next guest is Dr. Rodney Howard Brown. He is the president and founder of Revival Ministries International, senior pastor of the River at Tampa Bay, and the president of the River Bible Institute, the River School of Worship, and the River School of Government in Tampa Bay. Rodney has a fascinating story. His family moved to the United States from South Africa. They're grateful to have become nationalized citizens, and in taking the United States oath of allegiance, which declares, "I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic." They love America and are praying for this country and are trusting God to see another great awakening sweep across this land. Dr. Howard Brown, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you so much. It's a real honor to be on here with you.
Well, it's great to speak with you again. Dr. Howard Brown, we've asked you to join us today to discuss Celebrate America, a 19-day event taking place in Washington, D.C. Kevin Wade and myself were honored and privileged to attend the opening event on Monday night for Celebrate America. And Dr. Howard Brown, I was struck by your message of good news and that God is not finished with America. So please tell us about the good news, and please tell us about Celebrate America.
All right, well, Celebrate America is an event for 3 weeks in our nation's capital. Started on the 1st, and we already had 2 nights. That comprises of 2 different aspects. In the morning time at 10 o'clock, training of one-on-one evangelism, what we call power evangelism, and sending people out on the streets. I know the first day was, I believe it was 1,100 decisions on the streets. Yesterday was nearly just under 800. And then the 2 nights, both nights now, over 200 people a night have come forward to accept Christ as their Lord and Savior. So what we feel is the only hope for America is another spiritual great awakening. And I believe that the American people are going to be pushed into a corner where they're going to have to make a choice. That we either just give up our rights and the privileges that were given to us by the Founding Fathers through the Constitution, which was penned, and really, in my mind, the most amazing document, even though we've got members of our Supreme Court calling it flawed and people in the government trying to do away with it, but yet nonetheless, the Constitution still stands. And so I believe that as American citizens wake up and get a hold of the power of the gospel, we have the ability to turn America around and bring it back to its founding purpose of why this nation was founded, why God's hand is on America. And really, let me just say this, knowing what I know with all the stuff that's going on, the very fact that we even have an America today is only the hand of God. There's no reason we should even be here. Already so much has been violated and lines have been crossed. But I've got good news and I've got hope that God is going to turn America around one more time.
You know, Doctor, what I think we Americans must remember is we must remember our past. And our past includes our founding fathers never started a meeting where they got together without saying prayers and honoring God. And I think it's hard for people to believe that, considering where our country is now, when we have people who want to totally eliminate God from our country.
Well, the problem is you've got prayer taken out of schools, you've got history books being rewritten, and I tell everybody, you know, the people that go on and say, well, they all are, they were deists or atheists. The fact is that when you go to the government houses, you see scripture ingrained on the marble on the wall. So if people are atheists or deists, why are they going to put scripture there? No, the fact of the matter is that the first mega church in America ran for 100 years, was in the Capitol building, and George Washington started it, and the Marine Band did the praise and worship. So people have no clue about history, and if you don't know what took place in history, and you let people rewrite it, they've dumbed down the populace of America, even in our schools and universities, trying to make out that we're some heathen nation. We were not a heathen nation, even though we're heading their way right now. This was one nation under God, and it was formed by godly men through much prayer, and the very fact that we even threw off the tyranny of England was only the hand of God. Because there's no way that we should have been able to defeat the British might. But we did, and that's why the flag was still flying by the dawn's early light. So, you know, the church has to wake up, and part of the problem is the apathy within the church. You know, people say that the moment you start dealing with anything to do with the Constitution or whatever, start talking about the Bill of Rights and what we as citizens have, then they say, well, you're getting political. Well, the Constitution got nothing to do with politics. That's the supreme law of the land. And as far as I'm concerned, if anybody violates it, they are traitors, and they've committed high treason, and they should be removed from office or whoever they are, whether it be Supreme Court, Congress, Senate, or even the presidency.
Dr. Howard Brown, I've made this observation here on the Conservative Commandos radio show for some time now, that if you look back to many of the problems that have taken place in this country over the last 40 or 50 years, such as the breakup of the family, so many children being born to unwed mothers, the explosion of the prison population, the explosion of crime. Dr. Howard Brown, I can look back and say it all seemed to start out around the time that they took prayer out of schools. Am I off base here, sir?
Yeah, you're totally right. But all of this is by design. There's nothing by accident. So, you know, when the move is to secularize society and move God out of every mention, you know, while our First Amendment allows people to worship freely, no matter what religion that they are from, the fact of the matter is this, that when people want to, you know, have their freedoms and that takes away from our freedoms, we have a problem. So, I mean, I have no problem with people worshiping freely. That's what is given under the Constitution. But when their worship of freedom stops my worship of freedom, then we're going to get crossways, because that's not what the Constitution ordained. The Constitution never ordained that I lose my worship because of somebody else's worship. Are you with me?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dr. Howard Brown, as I mentioned in your introduction, you have, in my opinion, an extremely interesting story. That you're on a mission from Africa that God sent you to the United States in 1987. And what was the word that the Lord gave you concerning America at that time? And can you talk about coming to America and God's message to you?
Yes, sir. Well, when I was a little boy, you know, and of course maybe it was because of all the great ministries that impacted us, from Dr. Graham and Oral Roberts, and a lot of the film footage that came over there, T.L. Osborne. As a little boy at the age of 5, I mean, watching that, America was burned into my heart. And so I used to preach to my bears and climb out the window and go to America. I was only 5 years old to go preach in America and then come back and tell the bears, you know, what the Lord has done. Anyway, the call of God was placed on my heart to come here at that early age. And so when my wife and I made the trip, we came over here December of 1987 with our 3 children. Our oldest was only 5, and then our second daughter was 3, and our son was 7 months. We landed the country with $300. Didn't hardly know anyone, but just went by word of mouth, by invitation. In April of 89 in upstate New York, revival broke out that then exploded by the middle of 93, 94, took us around the world, 50 countries.
Wow.
But as I always tell people, no matter where we've gone in the world, it has always been the number one primary call to stay with America, because this is where we were called to come to. So anyway, you know, this is why we're on the mission field. This is not about a job or a speaking engagement. We're here on a mission to see America come back to God and return to our roots. And, of course, both my wife and I become American citizens. And we had to raise our hand to pledge to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign or domestic, which, you know, whatever that means, then that's fine. But if I do not stand up for America, even as a minister, if I do not speak out and vocal, then I have to renounce my citizenship and leave and go back to Africa, which obviously I'm not going to do that. I didn't become an American citizen to shirk in my duty and my responsibility, and out of respect to the signers of the Declaration of Independence, all 56 of them, many of them lost their houses, they lost their families, they paid a price for us to live in this great country. And so I'm really believing God that God's going to turn this country around, and I have great hope and anticipation.
You know, Doctor, sometimes it seems to me that people like you and yourself and your wife and others that have immigrated to America appreciate it more than the people who have actually lived their entire lives here. Your thoughts on that? Do you think that's true?
Well, totally, because where we come from, even though they have a constitution, nobody knows what it is, and nobody's going to say, this is against the Constitution. As long as you have politicians raising their hand, being sworn in to face to defend the Constitution, even though they're not, it is very evident from what's going on in Washington that people can barely say Constitution, let alone even spell it, by the stuff that's being done on a daily basis to undermine this document of freedom and liberty, taking away our rights and privileges, all under the guise of protecting us from these terrorists who we don't even know who they are anymore, because they search for them in our underwear when we travel on an airline.
Yeah.
They're looking for Al-Qaeda in my pants. I mean, come on, seriously? Give me a break.
I agree. Dr. Howard Brown, we have to take a quick break. Could you hold on for just 2 minutes, because I want to continue our discussion and talk more about Celebrate America. Could you hold on, sir?
All right.
All right, we are going to take a break right now. You're listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with our internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us, and don't forget you can hear our show anytime, day or night by calling 832-999-1199. We're speaking with Dr. Rodney Howard Brown. He's the president and founder of Revival Ministries International, and we're talking about Celebrate America, a 19-day event taking place in Washington, D.C. Be right back.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. EnjoyAbaco.com.
As I sail across the Sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
EnjoyAbaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna Little and Rick Trader. And program note, if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of today's show at tomorrow afternoon, log on to vigilantlibertyradio.us. And at 5 p.m., if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of yesterday's show, please log on to cprworldwidemedia.com. Our guest this segment is Dr. Rodney Howard Brown. He is the president and founder of Revival Ministries International, senior pastor of the River at Tampa Bay, and president of the River Bible Institute, the River Bible School of Worship, and the River School of Government in Tampa, Florida. Dr. Howard Brown, thanks for holding through the break. We appreciate your time.
No problem.
Sir, before we go any further, let's talk more about Celebrate America, a 19-day event taking place in Washington, D.C. Do you have a website, Doctor, where people could go for information?
Yeah, we have a website, www.celebrateamericadc.com. The admission is free. We're giving away tickets. We have a huge event tonight, which is all for youth, but everybody's welcome. And then tomorrow night is a big 4th of July special. We've got Jack Stagman and the Liberty Movement with releasing the Stateman's Handbook, which is basically a criteria that each politician should be viewed and scrutinized by. And also we have Adlin Cruz, a great concert pianist, is going to bring down the house. We got cameras on the roof at the Daughters of the American Revolution Constitution Hall. The fireworks are going to be filmed, beamed in the building. We're going to drop the big flag with Star Spangled Banner. It's going to be an epic night, the 4th of July. And then on Saturday, we got Matt Staver, Liberty University. And it's just, I'm preaching every night, preaching the gospel, giving altar call, praying for people, ministering to them, and then releasing them on the streets during the day, because we believe the only hope for America is another great spiritual awakening.
And as I said, this is a 19-day event. It's ongoing from now to the 19th of July. And it's being held at the Daughters of the American Revolution Constitution Hall, which is at 1776 D Street Northwest in Washington, D.C. So, a great event.
Don't you like that address?
I love that address, 1776 D Street. It's terrific. And as you mentioned, all the events are free. Is that correct?
Correct. And if they go to our website, other website, revival.com, there's a link to our Facebook page or our Twitter page. We also have Instagram, and we're posting pics all the time. They can see pictures of the event, what's taking place. We're even posting interviews of different people. Last night we had Lee Carowan from the Congressional Prayer Caucus. She ministered and shared. And then the night before was Dr. Billy Graham's son-in-law, who he presented Dr. Graham with the Lifetime Achievement Award. And, of course, he got to share. So many different guests are coming. We've got different members of Congress showing up, different speakers. C.O. Bryant, I'm sure you're familiar.
Yep, sure am.
From Runaway Slave, he'll be with us next Tuesday night. And it just goes on. We've got Chris Ann Hall, constitutional attorney. She's going to be powerful. She'll be with us next week. Many different musicians, choirs, bishops. I mean, it's pretty amazing to see that how many people have come. Over 200, and I think it's 211 churches have come together in support of this. Last night was a big Spanish night, and the first night we honored all the pastors. So tonight is youth night, tomorrow night 4th of July, and then we on Saturday night is educators night. So every night there's a different theme, but it's just going to be great. We also televise on the Christian Television Network, which goes on the Dish channel and the Direct channel. Mm-hmm. And so that's on every night, 7:30 to 8:30, and then the full show is from 11:30 East Coast time to 2:30 in the morning.
Wow!
And there's a lot of compete. And on the internet, they can watch on www.revival.com on the RTN live stream. We also have a YouTube channel and then CTN online. So people are texting me from Perth, Australia, people watching in Africa, parts of Europe. So there's a lot of people that are really praying for the capital, praying for the nation. And next week, of course, Congress is in session, so we're encouraging all the people visiting to go visit their elected official, go to the office, pray with their staffers, pray with each elected official. And I've also got 100,000 copies of my book that we're handing out, 2 different titles, one called Seeing Jesus as He Really Is, the other one called The Reality of Life After Death, and that's being placed in the hand of every elected official and also on the streets with all those that have given their life to Christ. I think already over 2,000, I think 2,300 people have been prayed with to accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior.
Dr. Howard Brown, I'm on your website, or one of your websites now, CelebrateAmericaDC.com. And as you mentioned, it will be webcast on your website. So even people who can't get down to D.C. between now and July 19th can partake, can watch. As you said, it's on the Christian Television Network, and it's also on your sites. And as I mentioned, I'm looking at one of your sites right now, CelebrateAmericaDC.com. There's a link, I should say, to click on to watch live, and you've got so many great speakers and entertainers. Got to ask you a question. How do you put all this together? I mean, what a monumental feat.
Well, we have a great team. I have 100 people from Tampa here on the ground. I have a whole team that's really been on the ground since February, and just working, coordinating. People have been working around the clock, 18 hours a day, visiting churches. They've handed out probably 1.6, maybe 1.8 million tickets to the event. Washington Times have come on board. They've done full-page stadia wraparounds. We've hit radio. We've hit television. We've buses running. So, yeah, it's a big event, but we felt that it was necessary. I probably would have loved to have had a year or so to plan it, but I really felt to do this back last November. So it was November that I came up. I was in Springfield, Virginia, and then I came and visited the DAR, and the reason we chose that venue because it was the closest I could get to the White House.
Right.
And also the historical value of that meeting from 1920. I believe every president's been under this roof. And there are documents in that building, in the Constitution Hall, the DAR, that have been signed by the Founding Fathers. There's a whole museum there. So we really want to encourage people, if you can, take off a couple of days and come. Go to www. I hope I said 3 W's there. CelebrateAmericaDC.com and find out all about what's happening and come down and be a part. We're needing people on the streets. We're hitting retirement homes. We're hitting every place, really places of business, and showing people how to share their faith and praying with people on the street. Tomorrow is going to be an epic day with over 1 million people on the mall. So you don't have to go far. You just have to walk across the street and come and help us.
Dr. Rodney Howard Brown, I want to thank you for coming on to Conservative Commandos radio show. You know, I want to say another thing. Kevin Wade and I were at the dinner the other night, and we met so many really nice, sincere people who, like you, believe in God, believe in our country, and want to do the things to take our country back to the Judeo-Christian conservative roots that our founding fathers created it to be, and there were just such nice people there. So I want to thank you once again for Kevin Wade of myself for the invitation to come down. And Dr. Rodney Howard Brown, please give out those websites one more time for our audience.
All right, the first one, www.celebrateamericadc.com. That's www.celebrateamericadc.com. And the other site is www.revival.com. That's www.revival.com.
Can you foresee this becoming an annual event?
Right now, I tell you what we are envisaging is going to every state capital and trying to do 2 of the state capitals a month.
Right. Well, what a great idea.
Covering the union, so I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But
Hey, that's all in God's plans, right?
You say what, sir?
That's all in God's plans, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, you're right.
Again, Dr. Rodney Howard-Brown, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Conservative Commandos radio show. I encourage all our listeners to check out Celebrate America at celebrateamericadc.com. Dr. Howard-Brown, thanks so much for joining us. Take care. God bless.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you from the CCRS studios, WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia, and around the world on the internet with our new internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us, and don't forget you can hear our show anytime, day or night by calling 832-999-1199.
In production systems technology, to be the one company that solves production problems at any plant, for any product, and with any technology, it takes a 30-year record of success. It takes total mastery of complex technologies with a history of delivering success every time, without fail. Only one company can claim that high ground in manufacturing line optimization, data automation, and systems integration, and that's Philadelphia Control Systems. In factories worldwide, Philadelphia Control Systems programs, software, and engineering solutions deliver optimal performance and output flow with a record that can't be matched. Any plant, any product, any technology. Philadelphia Control Systems, the leader in production automation since 1982. 800-335-9811, PCS4automation.com. That's PCS, the number 4, automation.com.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the sea of Abaco, the smiling coast I know, only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Viden, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
The Obama attack on our Constitution continues. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com and join J.D. Manier and Christina Lamb and hundreds of Reagan conservative commandos who demand our country return to its founding documents and principles. We are part of the nation's oldest and largest GOP volunteer organization, the National Federation of Republican Assemblies. We register voters, endorse conservative candidates, and dig deep to give you the truth on the big issues. We are fighting to do what Lincoln proclaimed 150 years ago. Let the people know the facts and the nation will be free. Help support the Conservative Commando radio show with your donation today. Log on to INRASuperPAC.com. INRASuperPAC.com.
Now hear this. Man your battle stations.
You can
The Conservative Commandos Radio Show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Anna Little and Rick Trader. And a program note, if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of yesterday's show at 5 p.m. when we go off the air, please log on to cprworldwidemedia.com. Click on that Listen Live link. You can also hear a rebroadcast of today's show tomorrow afternoon at vigilantlibertyradio.us. And Anna, we do have our next guest with us. Will you please make the introduction?
I would be honored to, Rick. Thank you very much. Listeners, we're going to be listening to Sidney Powell this afternoon. Now, she has worked in the Department of Justice for 10 years, and she was lead counsel in more than 500 federal appeals. She served 9 U.S. attorneys from both political parties and is the author of License to Lie, Exposing Corruption in the Department of Justice. Sidney Powell, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be back with you.
Well, I'm so excited to be speaking to you about this topic. What shall we call her? I guess the former Internal Revenue Service official Lois Lerner, who took the Fifth Amendment before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee on March 5th of 2014 in Washington, D.C. The lost emails that have most recently been discussed. I want to read just something from this particular, I guess it's your article in the New York Observer. I'm going to read a paragraph, and that should launch you, and then I want you to talk to us all about it. It says here, Americans are appalled over the false testimony of 4 consecutive IRS commissioners, Lois Lerner's countless acts of malfeasance, and the IRS's targeting of conservative groups and specific individuals, among them Senator Grassley. The ultimate outrage came over the lame, intellectually insulting assertions that all of the most relevant emails have gone missing from multiple IRS computers at the same time. So why don't you talk to us about this? That cannot have been put any more perfectly, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. Yes, it is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think there's even any 15-year-old in the country that doesn't know that things don't disappear like that. Emails are on servers. Heck, we can't even get rid of them when we want to. So I don't think it was just a computer crash on Lois Lerner's computer, and then to have them say that 6 or 7 others also have the same documents missing from the same time frame is purely intellectually insulting. It's just ridiculous.
And I do believe we all, those of us that have been active on the right in conservative principles, trying to take back control of our government, all of us reacted that way. I just don't think anybody could have said it quite as artfully as you just did. You put all of those reactions into, I think it's one sentence. It might be 2. It's 2 sentences. Very well done, Sidney. I have to
thank
you on that.
I've got several other articles on Observer.com that I think people will find interesting, too. It's the New York Observer website. I did one called All the President's Muses that went viral. I did one on Eric Holder protecting corrupt prosecutors that has a lot of information in it. And I did one called The War on Wall Street, which I really should have called The War on American Jobs, about Leslie Caldwell, the current head of the criminal division of the Department of Justice, who annihilated Arthur Anderson Company and 85,000 jobs, all for nothing, because the Supreme Court reversed it later, 9-0. They had pieced together parts of statutes to make a crime out of something that wasn't at the time, and then also changed the jury instructions to take out all elements of criminal intent. But Anderson was destroyed and the 85,000 jobs with it as soon as Anderson was indicted.
Yeah. You know, I think you picked the best topics to discuss. You know, people don't understand why the economy is broken. And the articles that you choose to write, Sidney, they shed such light on the antics, I'll call it, that actually contribute to the problems that we have in America getting jobs today for hardworking, everyday hardworking Americans. So,
well, thank you.
Your work is very important.
It's important for every citizen to understand how the legal system works and how far and wide the ramifications of any particular injustice go, whether it's against an individual or a corporation. The effects are far-reaching. That's why I wrote License to Lie, Exposing Corruption in the Department of Justice as a legal thriller, so that everyone can read and understand more about how it all works and the extraordinary human toll it takes when prosecutors don't follow the law themselves.
Well, I got to say, your work is extremely important, and I hope listeners are taking notes on where they can find these articles of yours. You said they're at New York Observer, and then there's the book, obviously. So
the website is Observer.
Yeah,
the website is Observer, observer.com, and the articles are in the opinion section. They can look them up by my author name, Sidney Powell, SIDNEYPOWELL, and they can also follow me on Twitter at Sidney Powell, the numeral 1, and usually we tweet those articles also.
Well, that's great. So now today we want to kind of take things a step forward. It seems that there's a breaking article here. Meet Emmett Sullivan, the IRS judge who once picked a special prosecutor on the DOJ. And then the question is asked, Lerner, Holder, Obama, are you packing your bags? Well, what a title, Sidney. Tell us about that one.
Yes, Emmett Sullivan, he's one of my heroes. He's one of the heroes in the book License to Lie, because he appointed a special prosecutor to investigate the Department of Justice itself and the lawyers in the public integrity section of the department who had withheld evidence and corrupted the prosecution of former Alaska Senator Ted Stevens. That resulted in the unseating of Senator Stevens. It cost Alaskans the Senate seat of their longest-serving and highest-ranking senator. It changed the balance of power in the Senate, and it basically facilitated the enactment of Obamacare. So you talk about a far-reaching, corrupt prosecution. That was one of them.
Well, this sounds like a man I'd like to see in action. I mean, we've got, as we stated at the beginning of this interview, we've got 4 consecutive IRS commissioners who have given false testimony. We have Lois Lerner, who has committed countless acts of malfeasance. The IRS's targeting of conservative groups and specific individuals has gone largely unaddressed, and obviously no consequences for it. And, we even have a U.S. senator among those individuals who were targeted, and then the emails are missing. It sounds to me like this Emmett G. Sullivan just might be the judge we need to get the answers to the questions we the people are asking and to set about outlining what the consequences ought to be. Do you think so?
I think so. I have great confidence in Judge Sullivan. The hearing on the 10th that he is holding is for IRS to explain why it omitted from the status report it was required to give the court the fact that all these emails were missing. They found out by virtue of the admission in front of Congress when they had filed a status report earlier with the court that didn't say anything about it. So
now,
they're
how
in
much
hot water.
Earlier was that status report filed, Sidney?
I don't remember the exact date, but it certainly should have been revealed. The emails were obviously known to have been missing well before the status report was filed.
Or are they missing at all, Sidney? I mean, if there's false testimony being given by 4 consecutive commissioners, can we believe anything they say?
No, we can't believe anything they say, and frankly, I don't think the emails are missing. They're on somebody's server. They're on computers of people who received them. They're out there somewhere. It reminds me of the Dorothy Aldous poem I liked as a child called I'm hiding, and no one knows where, for all they can see is my toes and my hair. Yeah, it's out there somewhere. So I imagine Judge Sullivan can either provide sufficient motivation for Mr. Koskinen to find the emails, or he can arrange to have someone else go look for them.
Hey, Sydney, this is Rick back at the studio. We got to take a break. Could you hold on for just 2 minutes, please?
Sure, I'll be glad to.
All right, you are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Anna Little and Rick Trader, coming to you live from the CCRS studios, that of WNJC 1360, our flagship station in Philadelphia. The way we do Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, and around the world on the internet with our internet broadcast partners, CPRWorldwideMedia.com, PatriotsRide.org, VigilantLibertyRadio.us. If that's not enough, you can hear our show anytime, day or night, from any phone by calling 832-999-1199. Don't go away. We're speaking with Sydney Powell about her article that's on New York Observer. Breaking news. Meet Emmett Sullivan.
Oh, how I'm longing for the day when I'm back at Orchid Bay, where the silver water glistens in the sun.
When is the last time you raced a small boat across wide open water? Tired of snow, traffic jams, cold weather? You need a refreshing change of scenery, a world away. The Bahama Islands have vacation rental homes and apartments. Enjoy spectacular nature in the Abacos Islands. Enjoy refreshing Caribbean beauty, fishing, snorkeling, scuba, the beach. www.enjoyabaco.com. That's ABACO. Enjoyabaco.com.
As I sail across the Sea of Abaco, smiling 'cause I know only one more mile to go.
Enjoyabaco.com.
Hi, this is Bob Vide, owner of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. I've had the opportunity to travel in many foreign countries, and I've seen what happens to people when they lose their freedom. I wrote this poem. Give us freedom was the cry as they marched throughout the night. At Concord Bridge in Trenton, for freedom they would fight. To build a nation that would last with peace and liberty, it is a job that's never done if we are to be free. They wrote a declaration to announce that we are free, then a constitution for all the world to see. But this is ink on paper. We must make it last. It must always be defended, and that is quite a task. Today the battle rages for freedom in our land. To save our Constitution, we all must take a stand. We must stand up for freedom in our actions every day, and you can stand up with us. Join the NRA. This is Bob Viden of Bob's Little Sports Shop in Glassboro, New Jersey. You may call us at area code 856-881-7575 or visit us online at bobslittle.sportshop.com.
You can call the Conservative Commandos radio show at 856-227-1360. Your opinion counts at 856-227-1360.
This is Congressman Alan West, and you're listening to the Conservative Commando radio show.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Anna Little and Rick Trader. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of yesterday's show at 5 p.m., in a little over, in about 20 minutes when we go off the air, please log on to CPRWorldwideMedia.com. You could also hear a repeat of today's show tomorrow afternoon at VigilantLibertyRadio.us. And joining us today is Sydney Powell, who worked in the Department of Justice for 10 years and was lead counsel in more than 500 federal appeals. Sydney, thanks for holding through the break. We appreciate your time.
Glad to do it.
Excuse me, Sydney, were you ever audited by the IRS?
Oh, boy. You're going to love this. I literally just got my first audit notice in today's mail.
Really?
Yep.
Have anything to do, do you think it has anything to do with the articles you write?
What a coincidence, huh?
Well, Sydney, I'll tell you why I ask this. I'm older than dirt. And I love my wife, so I won't say how old she is. But for the first time in either one of our lives, okay, we received a letter from the IRS back in December questioning the expenses of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Of course you did.
And It turned out okay for us, actually, but they asked us about the expenses of the show in 2011, so I had to reproduce all my records, get all my files out, get all my receipts out, all those receipts from McDonald's when we do remote broadcast and things like that. I had to give them statements of car mileage and expenses and things, and as I said, it all worked out real nice, but it just seems very ironic to me that in all these years we never heard from those good people until I created something called the Conservative Commandos Radio Show, and then they decided to come after us.
I think we have a clear explanation for that.
I think we do too.
I think it's in Lois Lerner's hard drive.
Hey, Sydney, did you have an opportunity to watch the congressional hearings when Congressman Jim Jordan and Congressman Trey Gowdy questioned IRS Commissioner John Koskinen?
I saw just a little small clip of that. I know they were obviously rightfully upset, and I did not appreciate his arrogance and dismissive attitude.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to get into with you, his arrogance and dismissive attitude, as you say, and you put it very well. It seems to me, Sydney, that these people forget who they are. They almost seem to be above it all. They seem to forget. They
need to remember they work for us.
Right.
This is a country based on we the people, and we the people pay their salaries. And we've got a massive problem with government servants from local police officers on up, remembering they work for us.
And we are the customers.
Yes.
I just wanted to get your viewpoint of the questioning of people like Trey Gowdy and Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan, I thought, asked the question of the hearing, Sydney, and wanted to get your reaction to it. And this is quoting Congressman Jim Jordan. Quote, "At what point does it become obstruction of justice?" Sydney Powell.
When they are deliberately withholding evidence they know Congress needs. And that probably happened when the emails went missing, to the extent they are missing.
Sydney, something else I thought was very interesting during the questioning of the IRS commissioners. You could tell what political side the questioners come from. When you've got Elijah Cummings, who is a Democrat from Maryland, when he said to the IRS commissioner, "I want to thank you for being who you are. I want to thank you for giving a damn and caring about our country. Some of the statements that have been made today make it look like you're just coming up here trying to fool people, when under Republican and Democrat administrations you have been highly regarded." And by the way, that statement about working for Democrat and Republican administrations, that's true, but it wasn't. He didn't work for a Republican administration as IRS commissioner. So, I just thought there were some interesting observations in observing the questioning between people like Trey Gowdy and Jim Jordan and Elijah Cummings. It's almost like, Sydney, they were watching two different movies at the same time.
Yes, it's ridiculous. And our politicians need to understand also that they work for all of us. Mm-hmm. And that we pay their salaries, and whether information is missing from IRS or what they're doing should not be a political issue. It's a matter of truth and law, which should not be political. It should just be disclosed because we're the American public and we're entitled to know what the truth is. I think most Americans are sick to death of the political posturing, the distortions, the flat-out lies and deceit from any government official. And I don't care who the political party in power is. I just want to know the truth.
Well, Sydney, talking about politics, This guy, this IRS commissioner, John Koskinen, contributed more than $85,000 to Democrat candidates and committees. MRC TV research discovered that he donated $5,000 to Barack Obama in 2012 and $19,000 to the Democratic National Committee from 1988 to 2008. Sidney, might that explain his attitude?
Yes, I think that might go a ways toward explaining his attitude. He also was part of the Freddie Mac debacle, I believe. I think he headed up Freddie Mac for a while.
That's true.
Supposedly came in to save it, but, you know, we've never had any transparency with Freddie Mac either, and we have no idea what kind of shape it's in other than bad.
Well, he was the CEO at Freddie Mac in 2009. In fact, he earned over $550,000 for his service that year. Hey, Sidney, we're going to have to wrap it up, but I want to thank you for joining us today. And I'm sorry I monopolized the last part of the interview, but it's great to talk with you, Sidney.
Very important stuff you're discussing. And, Sidney, I just want to briefly say thank you, and thank you again. Keep it up, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
You're welcome. I hope everybody will read License to Lie and check theobserver.com for the existing articles and watch for some new ones coming out, including an update on the Emmett Sullivan one.
Sidney, once again, give out the book title, give out your websites. Where can people get License to Lie?
License to Lie is available on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble and some of the stores. It's also should be available now in the Hudson bookstores and the airports, at least in the major cities. Everybody can ask for it everywhere. And my website is licensedtolie.com. I'm also uploading documents there that people can look at the documents for themselves and see the yellow highlighting that people hid while they then became things like White House counsel and innocent men went to prison.
You're from Texas, correct?
Yes.
Are you looking into anything like what's going on at the border?
Oh, it's a mess. I am not really looking into it, but I'm very concerned about it. I think it raises the greatest threat to national security we face right now.
Sidney Powell, I want to thank you for joining us today on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care. God bless. Have a great 4th of July weekend.
Thank you. You all, too, and your listeners, too. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Anna, we're going to wrap things up a little bit differently this week on the Conservative Commandos radio show, but I wanted to thank you for sitting in as my co-host. I also want to thank our other guest, Dr. David Hochberg, Dr. Rodney Howard Brown, and our most recent guest, Sidney Powell. But, Anna, we're heading off into our 4th of July weekend, and I wanted it to end it in a very special way. Would you honor us with your rendition of God Bless America?
Of course, and listeners, when you know the words, you know you can sing along. While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us pledge allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the ocean white with foam. God